Okay, hey everyone, welcome to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today I have another cool follow-up from Nivada Grenchen, originally founded back in 1926 and revived in 2018. The core idea is to respect as much as possible the original designs and stick to authentic specifications while offering affordable prices. Their goal here is to provide what the Nivada and vintage watch aficionados are asking for. Now, in terms of type of watch, this really covers a lot of different genres. It's an everyday adventure watch in terms of its capabilities. It's also a chronograph, also a diver. And with that, some of the key characteristics and design which around those spaces, of course, external pushers to activate timing functions with multiple sub-dials to measure elapsed time, often featuring additional scales dependent on the subgenre. Of course, the subgenre here is going to be motorsports inspired, as well as dive watches, right? So you're going to want to see water resistance, something that's tough, legible with a dive time bezel as well. This is their Chronomaster line, and this is an update to it. This is their Interchangeable Bezel variation, and it is a game-changing innovation that brings a new level of personalization and simplicity to your timepiece. This revolutionary system allows you to instantly transform your watch's look with tool-free snap-on bezels. This whole kind of concept was actually inspired by Nivada's 1960 Colorama 4. It was a whole kind of collection. It's very interesting. And it's cool to see them again kind of draw from the past. Some of you are seeing this dial and thinking, wow, that looks like a Daytona Exotic dial or a Paul Newman dial. Well, it's because Nivada actually had watches that were made by Singer as well. So these Singer dials you guys saw, I recently reviewed another model before, a really, really beautiful chronograph, also available from Nivada, and it also had that signature Singer dial. So these are very, very cool. And then this whole idea again of swapping out bezels, I couldn't resist. Also, I had to pair that with this beautiful flat link bracelet because I don't think there's been enough coverage for it. We always see it on the beads of rice or on a tropic. Now we're getting to finally see this in the flat link, which I think really ties in well to the overall motorsports inspired theme. So all that said, let's go ahead and zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay guys, now as much as this dial is the star of the show, so are these bezel options. Check them out. Very cool, diverse colorways. You have the red, you have that blue, which almost looks like a ghosted, faded colorway. You have, of course, this very nice dark green shade, which is going to render as visually black most of the time. And then you have this very unique kind of dual coloration here where you're going to actually have a world timer functionality. But of course I have it paired to the standard black bezel, and I think it looks fantastic. Just to show you guys how easy this is, pops right off. Check out the ball bearings, very nice. And I think it's kind of cool like this. I almost wish they had a smooth bezel, but let's try it with the blue here. Again, you kind of get that ghosted, faded look. Snaps right on. It even has a little click detent to where when it lines up, it actually feels a little bit different. So that as you're looking, you're going to be able to get it to align as well as just feeling it with your fingers. So I think that is very cool. Again, this feature is just awesome. Should I just go through all of the different inserts to start it? Why not? Just get this out of the way. This is what you came for. You wanted to see how easy it was, and you see, ooh, look at that. I love that. And again, this is actually a package. This comes with all of these bezels, and you get to really have the benefit of being able to change your style up very quickly and very easily. Now the green, this one is quite unique. Ooh, it's also a little hard for me to pull out. There we go. So quite unique with the green bezel. I think it does look quite good though. Check that out. And again, this is going to be a more subtle choice. Ooh, gotta get the snap in. Nice. So this is going to be a more subtle choice, but check that out. If you go for more earthy tones in your attire, something like this I think could go really well. And I like that, again, it is quite subtle and isn't super shouty. And then I think what is kind of, apart from the black, which I think is my favorite, is going to be this one here, quite unique. Check this out. We'll go ahead and get it to clip around in each spot. Click. There you go. There you have it. Look at that. That is a nice pop of color. It makes it feel and look quite different. We'll even get the chronograph here running. Ooh. So this just gives it a different vibe. And I like that. And of course, it's quite easy to use in terms of, you know, when you are going to set your time zone, whether it be New York, Chicago, Tokyo. I think that's just very, very neat, and I do think it looks cool. But for me, guys, I will keep it simple. I will go with this here, the very clean, classic, quite understated, but I think brilliant when it comes to the combination here. So actually give it a quick wipe off camera, because now I have all my fingerprints on there and all the smudges from this warm evening that I'm shooting. Check that out. Ooh. Very, very nice. So I do like this look best. I think if they offered it just like this, that'd be great. But the fact that they offer it with these bezels, you know, as part of the package, I think is quite awesome. Now, getting into the details, guys, 285 direct as configured on this flat link bracelet, and I think this is, for me, the prescribed way to go. I think this is the best variation of it. You're going to have that standard 38 millimeter diameter, 14.6 millimeters thick, including the crystal. And of course, this being a mechanical chronograph, you can expect it to be a little thick, but you can see the way that they actually break down the thickness here is, okay, let me give it another quick wipe just to get that prime viewing angle nice and fingerprint free. All right, check that out. That mid case, very nice undercut here. Then you have the bevels. It feels like a very thin mid case. Definitely has a break between the mid case, the case back, and then of course the bezel, and then the crystal. So visual weight, it's not a big side slab. This thing is actually quite nice, and I think flows beautifully together with all of these little design details. Now, the lug to lug, also very manageable at just 46.5 millimeters. You're also noticing pierced lugs. They're also very, very useful. You're going to have this double box domed sapphire with an inner AR coating, which is fantastic. Ooh, and check out that chronograph action. Very nice. Now, the insert on these bezels, these are all aluminum inserts. They're coated. They do look quite good, and of course are period correct in terms of that vintage inspiration. Now, the crown isn't a screw down crown because mainly this is a mechanical movement. So this is a hand wound movement. So they decided to forego that. Of course, all you're going to want to do is just make sure that the crown is pushed in, and then that way it's going to maintain that water resistance because all of the seals will be engaged. Now, the movement inside, although you can't see it because even though it does have that really nice, handsome, you get the camera to focus on it. Check that out. Handsome little case back there. Look at that. Very nice. Well done, Nivada. Now, although you can't see what's underneath there, what's inside is actually a Landeron 70 Swiss mechanical movement, which is going to have a 48-hour power reserve, beat at 4 hertz or 28,800 vibrations per hour in terms of that beat rate. It's also fully manual wound, so you're not going to have a rotor swinging around in this particular example. Now, the dial, of course, matte white, panda style, there with applied indices. The indices are very cool looking, very three-dimensional, and you can see they're raised quite nicely. Now, also, the sub-dials do have that nice patterning as well, which I can appreciate. It just gives you a little bit more visual pop and play along the way. And then, yeah, this thing's sweet. You're getting Swiss Super Luminova. You're getting 10 atmospheres or 100 meters of water resistance as well, which is going to be very capable. You're going to have this 20 millimeter lug width. Of course, drilled lugs at that. And this one has been optioned out with this gorgeous solid stainless steel flat link bracelet that does taper down to 16 millimeters, which most folks appreciate. Then at the clasp here, it's actually going to be stepped out a bit to 18.6 millimeters, fully milled though, and nice push button action there, also milled. And yeah, it does have 6 positions of manual micro adjustment here, so you can dial that in, or maybe you could just take it off the bracelet and put it on a strap and also dial it in that way. So with that said, let's actually get it on the wrist and see how it wears. Okay, as you guys can see on my 7.5 inch wrist, or 19 centimeters in circumference, that this wears just about perfectly. Now, of course, my wrist is going to be on the rounder / taller side, so it's not super wide and flat and accommodating, even though it is on the larger side of average at 7.5 inches. But if I keep my wrist nice and low, as you guys can see, it looks very well proportioned. But if I put my wrist a bit too close to the camera lens, all of a sudden it's just going to seem a bit more bulbous. And again, that is because you're going to get that perspective distortion. So I'll keep my wrist nice and low and then just tighten up the frame like so that you guys can get still a detailed look, but just add a bit of a truer aspect ratio as how this may lay on your own wrist. And you can see it does the job. Look at how thin that mid case with that undercut appears visually. I really like that they did go that extra mile, and it absolutely does pay off in terms of the wear profile. So I'm digging this one a whole lot, guys. With that, though, I'll go ahead, get it off the wrist, set it for some Lume shots, low light transition, and closing thoughts. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. Hey, look at that. Now, that Lume's pretty potent. I like that they have these 3D Lume blocks. It does add a bit to the fun, the visual interest. Speaking of visual interest, of course, I did have the chronograph seconds hand running, so you can get a little bit of play here within this low light transition. One of the reasons I really like to add this part to the segment is because you're not always going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to find yourself coming out of buildings, walking underneath overhangs, or just hanging out underneath the shade of a tree. So it's nice to see what these colors, textures, and finishes render like in less than optimal lighting. As you guys can see, still very, very legible. And that's kind of what to expect when you're thinking about black and white and panda dials, and why they're so iconic over time, because they look good, but they also do perform quite well when it comes to contrast and legibility. Check it out. Very, very nice, guys. I'm digging this one. Big shout out to Nivada for sending this piece in. Again, very excited to share with you guys, and I even did spec out specifically this flat link bracelet to showcase on the channel. So if you've been wanting to see what this looks like paired to a flat link, any one of the Chronomasters, comment down in the comment section below, just so we can give you some love. Now, closing thoughts, guys. On the wrist, wears surprisingly well for a relatively stout diver. We go back to that 14.6 millimeter thickness. It is a dive watch. It is a chronograph. It's inherently going to be thicker, and it's not the thickest I've ever handled, and by no means does it even wear anywhere near what I'd consider thick. But some of you with smaller wrists might find it a bit top heavy. For me, it was nicely balanced out, especially on this flat link bracelet with that milled clasp. Now, in terms of comparable models, did I mention model variants? Yeah, check the site links for options and availability right now in terms of this particular look. With the interchangeable bezels, this is all I see, but of course there's a lot of options that are also available for coverage. Now, in terms of coverage of, within your own within your own collection, right? So in terms of comparable models, I don't think there's too much competition within this space that I'm familiar with anyway. So let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else out there that really jumps out to you as a direct competitor to this, because I'm having trouble thinking about it, or thinking of it. I think this is just kind of standalone awesome, and pretty much most of the comparable pieces are, a lot more expensive. So this is going to be a very nice kind of sweet spot, in my opinion, at just $2,200 and some change, of course. Now, in terms of the bottom line here, guys, this is chock full of features and capabilities. That sporty diver times, chrono combo somehow perfectly straddles the lines between both balancing scale and proportions to offer something that feels truly special on the wrist. Now add that, add the capability of that easy bezel swapping, and you really have something even more versatile and value rich. And I'm happy to share it with you guys. This thing has been awesome, so I'm really appreciative of the time I got to spend with this piece. And this thing is cool. I mean, who doesn't like an exotic dial? And when I say that, I'm specifically referencing, of course, the Singer dials. So with that said, let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please like, and if you're already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.